Cabin choice is a big part of booking your cruise experience, and you don't want to make a mistake. I recently was on the Allure of the Seas twice while it was ported out of Galveston, Texas. Once with a dear friend of mine who had never been on a cruise ship before, so it was a great experience for her. And she did book us a balcony cabin. Just a few months later, I was back on the ship again, and this time I was with my guy. We had already booked an interior cabin, which is typically where we like to be, giving me an opportunity to do this comparison video so that you can see the differences between a balcony cabin and an interior cabin. The balcony cabin was room 10306 port side aft, so that's in the back of the ship. I used to be really worried about motion sickness, so I really tried to focus on staying in the middle of the ship because that's what people tell you that you should do. However, being in both the aft and the forward of the ship really hasn't caused me any issues, so whenever it comes to the room location, I'm not super picky. As you walk into the room, it is very bright and beautiful. You see a lot of sun coming in from the balcony. The layout of the room was very comfortable. We did have twin beds, and it made for a little bit of awkwardness getting in and out of the doors over here because it did push the bed over to the door a little bit too close. I wish there would have been just a little bit more room on that side, but as we did want the twin beds, we kind of just had to work with it. But it was very nice to have a balcony. But you can see as you turn around, there was plenty of space for the two of us. We do have a nice couch there. And of course, it's always nice that you bring along your little hooks so you can see that we've got things hanging on the wall. These hooks are invaluable. If you've watched any YouTube videos on anybody giving you tips and tricks, these little hooks are a lifesaver. You can just kind of hang your purse, your lanyard, whatever it is on the wall. And I typically bring a whole bunch of them and end up having things all over the walls. That is definitely a big plus. The closet here had plenty of room for our stuff. We had kind of already unpacked. Sorry for that. Did not do the video before we got everything unpacked. So you get to see all of our stuff sitting in there. But we did have plenty of room for her dresses, my dresses, everything that we were going to do for our evenings out. There's plenty of room in this area right here for all of our toiletries that we didn't want to keep in the bathroom, such as makeup, hairspray, these kind of things that you don't necessarily need in the bathroom. It'd be better off to having them here where you're going to be able to do your makeup in front of the makeup mirror. But this room was very, very well laid out. This is pretty typical of these style of rooms where they position things. And of course, the bathroom is pretty standard as well. Nothing special about it. Plenty of room for us. It does have the doors that actually have doors instead of the curtain that you can see in some bathrooms. Whenever you cruise, the older ships usually had the curtains, which I think pretty much, all of us kind of hate to some extent. But the bathroom was comfortable, and we did not have any problems at all with our room. It was a nice little space for us, and the good thing is we spent most of our time out in the rest of the ship, so this was just what we needed. There's no way getting around the fact that the best thing about a balcony room is the balcony. Otherwise, why would you have it? There is beautiful scenery all over the ship, but there is something nice about having this private little space to yourself. You don't have to share with anybody else. And the views at the night were probably my favorite. Being able to sit out here and watch the sunset. Yes, you can see it from anywhere on the ship, but there is some advantages about having a balcony. The interior room that I stayed in was room 10416, and this one was in the forward of the ship, but it was forward in a very weird way. Every other cruise I've ever been on has had my room either on the port or starboard, left or right, nothing else. This one was in the middle. This is literally off the elevators. And boy, if you wanted to walk, this was the room for you because this thing was all the way in the front of the ship. And as you can see, it was a nice long walk. Now for me and my guy, that's fine because we kind of like being away from everybody if ever possible. But it was definitely a long walk, and it's not something that everybody would really be up for. So we did get our steps in, staying in this room. Now, you can see here that the bed is right next to the closet, not giving you much room at all to be able to slide in there and get to the clothes. It was very, very awkward. I was not a big fan of this at all. I think the way they designed this bedroom was a little bit off of what they could have done to be able to use this space. We do like twin beds. It just gives us a little bit more room. But this was just making it very, very awkward. So you can see the couch is over here in front of the mirror. But, the couch doesn't get used a whole lot. It is nice to sit down on, but I'd like to be able to access the closet and the bed a little bit more comfortably. The drawer in the vanity area was the same as in the balcony cabin that I had, so there wasn't any differences there. Basically, the same drawer space, the same storage space, so that was all fine. But the layout of the beds and trying to get around to the closet and even over to this space where it was really tight for your legs, it was just really awkward. And as I was in the room unpacking and looking around at different things on where to put things, I kind of just decided I was going to try to make a little bit more space. And then ultimately what happened was my desire to make a little bit more space in the room turned into a full-blown rearranging of the room. Now, I have never done this in a cruise ship before, but it just had to be done because this just wasn't working for me. So I started moving things around, started with the table, then the couch, and then I decided to move one bed, and ultimately this is what I actually had. So he comes back to the room and it was already like this, which it was great because we left it this way the whole time that we were there. It was so much easier to walk through with that open space there. And I can only imagine what our room steward thought whenever he walked in. Cruisers may not always agree on which cabin is the best, but I think in the end we can all agree that the best cruise is the one you're on. Most of us don't spend a whole lot of time in our cabin anyways, and we all get to enjoy the same ship. Unless you've got a suite or you're in one of the upper levels that has certain lounges, the rest of the cruise ship is all open for everybody. So the important thing is to figure out whatever it is you want for your family and then just book that trip. You may decide that you want to have an interior cabin so that you can save on cost but spend more on the drinks packages or specialty dining or excursions while you're in port. The beauty of what we do whenever we cruise is that it's all about whatever we want in the moment, and the rest just does not matter. For me personally, I prefer the interior cabins. Even though the balcony was nice to have, I spend so much time walking around the ship and enjoying the rest of what the ship has to offer that the balcony cabin is really just not that big of a deal for me. I'd rather save the cost on that and just be able to take more cruises. So that's exactly what we do, is we do interior cabins for the most part, and then we just try to cruise as much as possible. We have several cruises planned for this year, and one of which is a repositioning cruise that will be leaving from Galveston to Barcelona, Spain. This will be our first time doing a repositioning cruise, and I'm really looking forward to it. In fact, I'm going to be at the next level of the member benefits with Royal Caribbean by the time we get on that ship, so that way we can enjoy the perks that comes with the next level. So that's all I have for this cabin comparison video. One thing to note, if you do move things around in your cabin, please put them back before you leave the ship. We don't want to abuse our cabin stewards. So I hope you like this. If you did like this, please hit like and subscribe. I greatly appreciate you supporting my channel. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.